Welcome to Iron Summit, the podcast where we dive deep into the art and science of becoming your best self, blending expert insights on strength training, smart recovery, optimal nutrition, and mindset mastery to help you elevate your game.
What's up, guys? If you're looking to level up your training, click the link in the description and check out the Iron Summit Gains Emporium. Our strength training plans are designed to help you pack on muscle, and with our software, you can track every workout right from your phone. Plus, you'll have direct access to us for any questions along the way. Don't just train, level up your training.
We're live.
This is
The
a special
countdown.
episode
This is a special episode, the century mark.
for Centurions.
You know what's crazy is, we do one a week, so we're like a month out of 2 years on the pod.
Yeah, that's crazy. That doesn't seem like that.
Well, I mean, and how long did we have Iron Summit before we, actually got our ducks in a row to start the podcast? So it's been a little over 2 years.
Yeah, Ryan and I's 2-year anniversary is coming up. It's adorable.
It is crazy, though. It feels like we kind of just started this thing. I do know when we started, I remember saying, like, we're just going to be really bad until we get to episode 100. Well, it's going to be just a little bit better until we get to 200, and we're just going to slowly try to get out of very bad.
There we go. Yeah. Well, what is any current hot topics on your mind? Put you on the spot.
Hot topics. It's a good question.
I have like 5, but they're all probably too political.
Ripple, you go first. Let me think. You got me on the spot.
All right. You want to start? We'll start political.
Okay.
Actually, this one's interesting. It's like tangential to Iron Summit. It's health, Tylenol, and autism.
Ooh, okay.
Do you have any takes on it?
Dude, I hate the whole political whatever to this.
Yeah.
I'm going to start with,
it, but it's political.
right. And then I'm going to say, like, I'm an idiot. Don't listen to me. I haven't done enough research on this. What I will say is I think the problem is, like, there's probably some kind of increased risk factor from Tylenol. But what the other side doesn't like is saying this is exactly what causes it. And I think that's the issue with our world is there's not like a one thing that kills you. We have a lot of poisons. And so it's important to be informed on that stuff. So that's my stance is like, yeah, you probably shouldn't take medicine. I don't like taking Advil unless you really need it.
I avoid
right? Like,
Tylenol at all costs.
yeah.
Just because it's like medicine. But yeah, exactly. But at the same time, I don't think like trying to single it out as a cause is, I think, pretty ridiculous. And I think even if you look at I went on a wormhole deep dive on the studies that were referenced in those claims. And they're a mild correlation or causation, because I guess these studies are trying to decipher is whether it's just correlations or causations, if it's causal. And I guess there's like a mild causal effect, like a 5%. It comes out to, if you look at all those studies, like a 5% increase in the risk of, which is like worth noting. What's like, I think I'll circle back to another point in a second, but I think what's a little silly is like, if you talk to, I know like prior to all this, our pediatrician, when Alexis was pregnant, basically told us like, hey, if you can, avoid taking Tylenol or Advil. But like, if you're in a ton of pain or have a high fever, like you got to also like take care of yourself, which I think is kind of like the solid advice. And to further that, like I saw something that like, what has a even higher causal effect on autism when the mother's pregnant is high fevers. It's like 30 something percent.
Yeah.
So now you're like, well, why'd we pick on Tylenol? We could have picked on fevers, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
so.
I think it's use common sense, right? Like I think that the problem is there's so many people that are so hard on each side that it's hard to know what's right. But like as a parent, it's good to know, hey, we're not saying this causes something, but be aware. Just like you probably shouldn't be, having a bunch of caffeine when you're pregnant, just like you shouldn't have a bunch of alcohol. I'm not saying those are equal to taking, Tylenol, but I'm just saying like if there's something that increases the risk of your baby being hurt, like there's a reason we protect, like pregnant mothers is like it's the most I don't know, vulnerable population that we're trying to, it's the future of the country, of the world. Yeah, I think I hate how political everything is because then it's hard to even know what's good information, what's not. Because some people are like convinced this is really an issue, this is really bad. And then the other side's like, it is super safe, don't do
Not yeah,
anything.
exactly, and it's, like, somewhere in between, it always is. It always is. Well, I think this is a good segue into today's topic.
It is.
I'll segue it because one thing I did, like, as I was really deep diving into this, and I think it was actually, Peter Attia said this, which I was like, I like this a lot, is everything in biology, there is no such thing as an absolute because there's too many mechanisms at work at once. Like, there's no cause and effect. Like, mathematics, there's like, you do a proof, that's the numbers, right?
Yeah.
In biology, there's way too many. So it's just probabilities. So when you say like smoking causes lung cancer, it's just a really high probability that it causes lung cancer, but it's not like 1 to 1, right? And
Yeah.
that's like and you could go to something like you drink water, you get hydrated. It's not even a 1 to 1. It's like
Yeah.
a percent chance that if you drink water, you're going to get hydrated, but there's no such thing as like a cause and effect in biology. So I thought that was interesting because then that's why like nothing is absolute when it comes to your health. Like there are no absolutes. It's impossible. There's just too many factors happening at once. Which leads us to today's topic, which is something this is like we kind of I think that we're doing it for 100 because we started out with this topic on episode 1, so it's a good time to come back to it. Plus, I think you and I have learned a lot since episode 1 and probably have some knowledge to add to that, but is like the hierarchy of health and fitness. We'll take it from kind of like a fitness angle
Yeah.
because I think, listen up, Ryan and I, we're not usually big fans of pre-workouts. As Ryan and I have discussed a lot in the past, they're either usually full of shit, way underdosed on the good stuff, and overdosed on the stim. Thankfully for us, we have had our prayers answered. Code Nutra just launched their all natural organic pre workout called Code Nectar. If Ryan and I were to design a pre workout, this would be it. 150 milligrams of caffeine from natural sources, green tea and guarana, beetroot extract for the vasodilation, and L-theanine to smooth all that out. Best part, it's all delivered by honey and Redmond's real salt. That's a good pre-workout. Go get some. CodeNutra.com and use code IRON for 15% off. We talk about this all the time. We've had guests talk about it, but there's definitely certain things you should do before you worry about kind of the next set of things you can do. And like in my mind, I was thinking about it this morning when we decided on doing this for episode 100 was the way I think about it is it's like you have a series of switches and every
Mhm.
time you turn like and you have to turn them on in order for each switch to be as effective as it can be.
Yeah.
So like if you try and turn on switch number 4 without turning on switches 1 through 3, switch number 4 isn't very powerful.
Yeah.
But if you turn on switch number 1, then number 2, then number 3, like it stacks and each level of the pyramid, each switch, however you want to visualize it, they get more and more potent.
Yeah, I like that. Kind of going back to what's my controversial take for this
Yeah.
that is related to this as well as I think people should think about this more so when they're designing their life. Like we spend so much time thinking about like what career you want, where you want to live, what school you want to go to, what school you want your kids to go to, what area you want to raise a family. I think people don't think about health and fit, hopefully more now, but there's a lot of people that health and fitness is an afterthought. And I think that, again, it'd be really hard to judge this, but your ROI on health and fitness is just like quality of life. How do you put a dollar amount on that? And so, like, being intentional about this stuff, flipping these switches, like you're saying, in the right order, and doing big lever movements. I'm not saying everybody has to be, 6% body fat and shredded.
Yeah.
Um,
No.
it will improve your life if you have better health, and you will see more, you will be able to do more, you have a higher quality of life, you'll be able to play with your grandkids, you'll be able to do more things, and your mood's better, you're more productive, there's just so many benefits to this. And I think that people need to like think about taking care of themselves with health and fitness before, other things that they prioritize on top.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's why you and I are so passionate about talking about this is it's like it can actually make really big differences in your quality of life.
Hmm.
And I think to your point as well, like physical health doesn't only improve your physical health, like physical health just improves your life in general. Like you'll have more success in work, more success in being a better parent. It's obviously you can take it too far and obsess
Hmm.
about things. But I think goal for today is to like really put because I think there's so much information out there and people are worrying about all these different inputs. So like to actually kind of order what to worry about in which order.
Yeah.
So you just like have a little bit of direction on that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think like the first thing is obviously calories in, calories out. Like law of thermodynamics. If you're putting in more than you're burning, like you're going to put on weight. Right. And you can do that intentionally while you're trying to put on muscle. Or I think a lot of people don't realize they're doing this. And then over 20 years, you're like, I gained an extra 30 pounds. What happened? And so any physique change is going to come from, understanding your calories in versus calories out and that balance.
Yep. I think this one's definitely the base. And the reason I think this is the base is it's two-sided, right? You have calories in, which is the foods you eat, the things you put in your mouth and then swallow. And then,
Or
yeah. So, like, whatever ends up in your stomach, right? That's calories in. And then calories out is a combination of your basal metabolic rate, which there's ways to change that.
Mhm.
It's your exercise, it's how much walking you do. But this overall formula of what you're putting in your body and then how your body's converting that to either energy or fat storage is probably the single most important thing you can do for your health. That is the base of the pyramid. And I think there's like, if this is kind of, I don't know, maybe you'll have a different take, but if I had to rank the calories in versus calories out, I'd say calories in is probably a little bit more important. Not much, but just a little bit, simply due to the fact that you can eat calories way faster than you can burn calories.
Yeah, I agree. And as you get older, um, whether it's I don't know, even people don't think maybe your metabolism slows down, maybe it doesn't. But like you're probably not going to move as much as you did when you were 15 and you're playing three different sports, and you had zero responsibilities. You weren't sitting at a desk all day. And so um, I think if you don't have discipline about what you put in your mouth, it's going to be really hard unless there's some people that don't have the food drive. It's going to be really hard to have a super healthy life if you can't control that every time you see a sweet you got to eat it, or just like you said, I mean, you can bomb 2,000 calories in 10 minutes. You know how long it takes you to run 2,000 calories off? Like not 10 minutes.
2,000 calories is probably hours, 8 hours. I don't know. It's a long time of if you're doing it just in running.
It's
I
not
think,
8. I'm thinking 20 miles. It's probably 100 calories a mile. So like I don't
but
know,
that's
depends
like
how fast.
with your basal and the running of
Yeah.
just running.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like,
okay.
if does that make sense?
Yeah. And
I don't
it'll
know.
increase, you'll be
Maybe it's
hungry.
like 6 hours, but it's a
You'll be
long time.
hungry after too, where you'll
Yeah,
put more in after. So
it's
yeah.
true.
Yeah.
I think while we're on that, I think it's important to touch on the calories out. The way I like people to look at exercise for their health is rather than to like, I ate 100 calories, I need to go burn 100 calories.
Yep.
It's not doing that. You eat healthy and then you exercise not to burn the calories that you're taking in, but because exercise makes you more metabolically healthy.
Mhm.
Basically, if you add muscle tissue, if you're consistently exercising, if you're walking a lot, your basal metabolic rate comes up. So, and it's actually easier to burn calories by like raising your metabolic rate than it is to like exercise the calories off, if that makes sense. And that's why we're so big on like resistance training is the fastest path to adding muscle tissue, becoming more metabolically efficient, et cetera, et cetera. And then you have the cardiovascular component from more endurance type activities, which is really for heart health. So it's like, look at it that way rather than I ate a 100-calorie chocolate bar. Now I got to go burn 100 calories on the bike.
Yeah. And I think that statement is like, it's a slippery slope here where you don't want to care about this so much. I think some people really turned off with counting calories because of that, where they're like punishing themselves for eating or something. And
Yeah, it's not
I
healthy
think I think the way to think about this is like it's like freedom through restriction. It's kind of like, you know, having a budget with your finances. You can't do everything at once, but you can move stuff around and make it work. So like let's say you're going out to dinner at night, you know you're probably going to eat more than you normally do. Maybe you pull some carbs out of your lunch before then. You know, that's not you're not restricting yourself. You're still going to go eat that meal, but you're you're not doing everything. If you're going to go out to dinner, maybe you get that ice cream after, maybe you don't because you just had a big meal. You know, maybe you can spread stuff out. Um, maybe you go for a walk after dinner. Like I think there's little things you can add here to where you're not just like, okay, I put 100 in, I got to go take 100 off because I think that's a bad way to go, uh, and you'll go crazy trying to do that. So I think you got to understand your body here and then understand also if you have, maybe a crazy day eating, something happens, you're watching a football game with some friends, or, you just plan to eat more one day. I think you can look at this on a weekly basis too, where it's like, hey, if your calories are 3,000 a day for 7 days, you got 21,000 calories. I don't care how you fit it in. There's a better way to do that. And we'll talk about that in our next couple switches. But, you get 21,000 calories. So if you blow 5,000 on a day, okay, the next 6 days are going to be a little lighter. And I think that's a better way to look at it if you can zoom out and kind
for
of
sure.
cycle days a little bit.
Yeah, that kind of, and that's a great segue into the consistency aspect. Because if you're consistent with this, and you have one off day, like, if you're only do this for a week and you have one off day, that one day has a much larger impact on the mean of the week. If you're
Hmm.
consistent for a month and you have an off day, 3 days, 3 out of 30, is better than 1 out of 7. If you're like 5 out of 90, not see, like you start to get every time you have an off day, it's a smaller and smaller impact the more consistent you are with this. So like on the calorie balance thing, just eating healthy in general, not being not eating an excessive amount of calories and consistent movement, like that is the base of the pyramid. And we will get into the like all of this in the next like levels, but I think a great way to illustrate this is like you can eat the healthiest foods in the world. Let's take like three of my favorites, like beef, avocado, cottage cheese, right? Like objectively, would
You
you
put
say
those
those are
three as your
three?
top three?
No, not my top three, but they're healthy, right?
Yeah,
Like
right.
you
Good.
you
Okay.
would say like Max, great foods, right?
Right.
Like not processed, healthy fats in all of them, great protein sources. If you ate too much beef, avocado, and cottage cheese, you're gonna add fat tissue, and
Hmm.
that's really unhealthy metabolically. So like before you're worrying about anything else, you got to worry about the energy balance.
Yeah.
So I think like I just wanted to call that out.
Yeah. I agree. And something to note there, if you only ate whole foods like that, if you're only eating beef,
Harder.
avocado, and yeah, it's going to be really hard to overeat. But if you're like weighing it out and you're like, hey, this is 5,000 calories, and you do that every day, you're 100% going to gain weight. I don't care if it's good or bad. I remember, you ever seen that Super Size Me documentary? He eats like McDonald's and loses weight.
Yeah, the energy balance.
It's energy balance. I don't think you're going to be healthy long term eating a bunch of processed crap, but you're not going to blow up a bunch of weight. You can't make energy out of nothing, and if you're under your total maintenance calories, you're going to lose weight.
Yeah, here's a wild one. Like you could make the argument that if you, and this is over like a very long period of time, but you ate just McDonald's in a deficit versus beef, cottage cheese, and avocado in a big surplus, the McDonald's in the deficit is probably healthier long term, which is like that's like an exaggeration, but it's to prove the point. Like the base of the pyramid is the base.
Yeah, and when people start having issues where doctors are like, you need to start pulling this back, it stems from like obesity, right? Like when you have more excess body fat, like that's an issue. So like bringing that down solves a lot of health issues. I'm not saying it's going to solve every health issue. There's genetic stuff, there's other things, but to that point, if you can get the balance of calories correct, this is a huge lever and the main starting point.
Yeah. That would be the really wrong way to do it. Is eat McDonald's at a deficit. We're not advocating for that, but, like, to prove the point, like, I think that statement would hold true.
Yeah, Max is going to try it for the next 60 days.
How many times have you had McDonald's in the past 5 years?
You know, that's a good, I don't even know if I have.
I
We
haven't.
would like
I
after
can tell you I
nationals
haven't.
go get like Taco Bell or something, but I don't know the last time I've had like I got a coffee at a McDonald's when I was coaching.
I don't know if I count that. It's probably black too.
It
So,
was
that's yeah, I don't know the last time. I mean, like, I've had Chick-fil-A probably, like, a handful of times in the
Chick-fil-A
past
is
5
good.
years.
It's
You can,
dangerous.
like I don't think it's, like, healthy, but you can do Chick-fil-A better.
It's the sauces, dude. The Chick-fil-A sauce is so good, but you're like, okay, there's 200 calories. There's
Like,
200
this
calories.
tiny little thing. It's delicious, though.
It is good.
Alright, next one. So, like, right above that, and, like, I struggled like, you could even put this in the base, but I just think, like, if you're adding a bunch of fat tissue, but doing this next one, still probably that's why I put the calorie bounds at the bottom, but it's sleep and recovery. Like, this one is so huge, and no pun intended, it's slept on.
That's I want to add to this too. I'd put like stress management in here as
For
well
sure.
because that affects your sleep and it affects your recovery. So sleep recovery, stress management.
Yeah, 100%. This one is pretty straightforward, and we do talk about it a lot, but it's 6 to 9 hours a night on a consistent schedule. That is like that's the magic right there. We're not saying you gotta get the perfect 8 hours of sleep every night. I'm pumped if I get 8 hours. I usually get closer to 7, 7.5,
Mhm.
but really prioritizing that has so many positive benefits. I mean, I've seen, I'm sure, and I'm pretty sure you sent me these studies, but like if you sleep consistently over 7 hours a night, it has like, I can't remember, it's like the same effect on your metabolism as like working out 7 times a week. It's
Yeah.
a crazy effect it has on every process in the body.
I mean, this affects your mood. This affects your ability to focus on tasks. This affects your like hunger drive. It's so easy to overeat when you slept like crap and you're tired. Or I think this is the one that everybody knows. It makes a lot of sense. You're going to spend, you know, a third of your life sleeping, but I don't think we spend nearly enough time trying to optimize that sleep. And that's where this is. You should invest in a good mattress, you know, blackout curtains, make sure your room's cold. I think, and I'm guilty of this too, is I'm constantly like, I have to check myself where if I'm really busy, this is the lever that I like let slide a little bit where I'm like, I could stay up an extra hour to finish this. And
Yeah.
you do that too long, it's really bad. And you talk about consistency. If you slept, I don't know, 6.5 hours a night versus 7.5 hours a night for 10 years, how much faster do you think you would age? How much worse do you think you would feel? It affects everything so much. And I don't think we really it's just so easy to delay this. And not to mention you throw smartphones in there, TVs before bed. Like there's a lot of things that are competing with your sleep. And it's easy to just be like, I'll sleep later.
Yeah, that's so true. It's one of the easiest ones to let slip. But I do so like if you're getting the energy balance pretty much right, and then you're getting the adequate amount of sleep, I think you're doing a pretty dang good job. Like everything from like switch number 3 or level number 3 on is like now we're starting to get into more like optimizations. But I really like to emphasis on the bottom 2. Like everything we're about to say from here on out is like if you're not getting the bottom 2 right, go and start putting all your energy into those because that's has way more of an impact on your like it doesn't matter what your goal is. If it's just to be healthy, to live
Yeah.
longer, to have a good physique, to be stronger, to be a better athlete, whatever it is. If you're not getting switch 1 and 2 turned on, like everything from here on out is marginal.
Yeah. Two things. One, I want to, what do you think about this, Max? Because we talked a little bit with Garrett last week, but I kind of think about this a lot too, where I almost think that if I did less in terms of working out sometimes, I would probably see gains a lot faster because your body's less stressed out, your hormones are regulated a lot better. Like the recovery aspect is such an important aspect. And there's a fine line of like you need to push yourself and promote change. Um, but I do think there's a big part of this where if you're somebody that consistently works out, 6 days a week, 7 days a week, you would probably get a lot more out of your workouts if you could cut those days back. It's kind of more obvious to me now, but I just like sometimes I hate it. It's like I feel like it ruins my routine. And sometimes I go to the gym just to clear my head and, kind of
Yeah.
forget the day.
No, it's yeah. So I think it's a great lead in because on this third level, I put like training quality. But like now, let's say you're getting consistent exercise. Now you're worried about getting too much exercise. Let's start with like training quality. I think like an effective program, especially, and we talked about this with Garrett a little bit but especially for someone natural, this is more exaggerated, but your training is only as good as what you can recover from effectively.
Hmm.
And obviously, like the energy balance, if you're not way under eating, that's also part of the energy balance. But like you're eating enough food and you're sleeping well, like you can optimize things to recover from more. And like really, that's all like, performance enhancing drugs. They don't like magically make you stronger like the second you take them. They just help you recover from a lot more training. Like that's what they're doing. Shows
Yeah.
you how important recovery is. Like the workout is important because it does the damage, but like really the gains are made during the recovery.
Yeah.
So yeah, 100%. Sometimes doing a little bit less is like one of the best things you can do for your training. I know like when I'm really trying to add muscle tissue, like it's train actually a little bit less. You train very hard, but a little bit less. And there's like while we're on training quality, like a good program, there's so many ways to slice and dice that. That can mean like you crush your chest once a week and then give it 5 days to recover. Or you can do like, volume, a little bit of volume, multiple days a week. So it's less to recover from each time. Like that's where a good program and a good coach is going to kind of fill in those equation gaps. And if
Yeah.
you're getting the good sleep and you're have the right energy balance, like you can start worrying about this now.
I think the other point that you brought up there is with a good program, you know what you got to do to no matter how you feel, and you don't overreach even when you feel good, and you don't underreach when you don't feel good. So I think there is a certain level of yeah, you got to listen to your body, but it's nice to have some thought out program where you know you're getting the correct volume, because the other thing that'll happen here is like your body will tell you you'll get hurt if you're doing too much, or you will be like very slow to progress if you're not doing enough.
Yeah, you
And
can feel
so,
it.
yeah, it's an important thing. One very big left turn, but it's related to this. Max, I know you're not a huge crypto guy, but I think about crypto.
Where we going with this?
Okay, well, so I mean, just what you talked about, right? Like people that take performance enhancing drugs, they can recover faster, right? And so you're getting more gains because you can do more with the same amount of time as somebody else. What do you think about crypto and the stock market? Like stock markets are open, 9:30 to 4 Eastern time every day, and then crypto is 24/7. So the amount of time that a crypto market's open over, 10 years is significantly more than a stock market. So do you think that eventually changes, where money goes because of the amount of I mean, you could, let's say you're a trader. You can trade 24.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a great question. That is a left turn, but I like it. It is I don't know. I mean the proof is in the pudding a little bit. The amount of liquidity flowing into crypto is incredible. Like way outpacing, not in terms of a total dollars, but in terms of like a rate of change, way
Mhm.
outpacing the public market. So maybe that is part of it, but I think more than anything, it just means it's like a more efficient market. Like there's no pauses. So like the value is always the true value. Like it's what you're willing to pay and what someone's willing to sell it for is like 24/7 on. So that means it's probably just a little, it's more efficient.
Which, I mean, does that mean we already have futures, extended hours? Like, do we make a stock market 24/7? Do we, because the other thing is, I mean, if you're trading, usually the best time to trade is the first hour of the day, the last hour of the day. Like
Yeah,
with
exactly.
crypto, you're
There is no
watching your Bloomberg terminal and you're like, Trump tweeted, rip the, short this or buy it.
tweeted.
Did you see that on Friday? Everything drops. It's like one tweet.
Yeah, I saw something that we'll get back to the third level here, but I saw someone opened an account on a I think it was a crypto. Yeah, it was like a Bitcoin, like a Coinbase type. Like within 10 minutes of him, or 10 minutes before he tweeted or on China, and did a huge multi-million dollar leveraged short position on crypto.
Crushed it.
It was like $7 million, and in like an hour and a half, it was 196 million.
Yeah, that's
Suspicious?
yeah. Well, yeah, but
Yeah,
I mean, is it regulated like that though? Like, are there SEC rules for insider trading on crypto? I mean,
I don't know. That's above. I don't know. We got to start a separate podcast, Iron Crypto.
all right,
Well, I'm
we're
not.
gonna
I
reel
mean,
this.
like, yeah, we'll reel it back in. I'm not against crypto. I'm dabbling. I'm
Okay,
dabbling. I think you're missing out if you're not at this point.
yeah.
Just took me longer than others, which shame on me. I
I
would
don't. I
have.
don't know if it's shame on you though. It's like it's a high risk bet, and now that it's more established, you come in, you won't get a 10x return maybe unless you're playing with altcoins, but um, the risk is lower now. There's a lot more liquidity. I think the macroeconomic events with public policy is a lot better now. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, good sidebar, Ryan. We can.
Number
You can.
three,
Yeah.
third switch.
Back to it. But like training quality, that means effective programming, like recovering from what you're training. You can start thinking about your balance of resistance training and conditioning, etc. I also think like a huge one in here is starting to understand your macronutrients. And this is something like to you and I, it's second nature. It's something we've been thinking about for a long time, but most people don't even actually know what macronutrients are and like what each macronutrient serves to do. Like people start thinking about like organic versus non-organic or pesticides before we're like understanding what the macros are, and like the word itself macro, like this is the macro makeup of your food. This has the biggest impact aside from just the general calories on what you're putting in your body and how your body interacts with that food. And the macros literally make up the calories. So like the way to think of macros is like what are the little building blocks that add up to the calories in your food? And there's three. There's protein, which is probably, it's in my opinion, the most important macro. That might be a meathead take, but
No, it's for
I
sure.
think there's a lot of
That's just
science
facts.
on that as well.
There's no debate. That's 100%.
Most important macro. It's the building block for cells. It's so therefore it's like how your muscle builds and repairs tissue. And that's not just muscle. That's like soft tissue, organs, skin, you name it. And 1 gram of protein, because that's how you calculate macros is in grams, is 4 calories. Then you have carbohydrates, which are, it's like, this is a gross oversimplification, but it's the energy
Jet
source for the
fuel.
body. It's the most readily converted to energy by your body.
Mhm.
And that's also 4 calories per gram. So you have protein and carbs at 4 calories per gram. And then you have fats, which are really important as well. They support like your body has to make hormones, uses fats, like a ton of the energy processes in your body are reliant on fats. You can also convert fats to energy, just not nearly as efficiently as carbs. But fats are 9 calories per gram. So they're the most energy dense of the macros. And then when you eat, like, one more thing, for survival, humans do not need carbohydrates. They do, however, need protein and fats. So Stack them however you want. I think protein's number one. You agree with me, but protein and fats are definitely like the most important, and carbohydrates are like of secondary import. I've heard like my favorite guy, Charles Poliquin.
Hmm.
He believed he was like the kind of the godfather of a lot of modern day training science. He believed if you had like over like a 20% body fat, you didn't need to eat carbs. He's just like burn your fat. You have too much energy stored on your body. Don't eat the excess energy like the carbs.
That's funny.
He was literally like, you don't get carbs if you're over 20%.
Did he account for total calories or he just
Yeah, like he would like protein and fats would come way up, but like, and there's a lot of truth to this. Like if someone has excess body fat, but they're eating a substantial amount of carbs, their body goes to the carbohydrates for energy rather than burning the existing fat storage. But
yeah.
like not all calories are created equal. It's like mostly equal. And there's a thermodynamic effect of food. So like protein takes the most energy to digest and process and convert into energy, fats second, carbohydrates the least. So like if you ate all your calories in protein, your body actually has to do work to get the calories out of that protein. Whereas with carbs, it's like pretty much it's not 1 to 1, but it's close. I don't know the exact thermodynamic effects off the top of my head, but it's like I think with protein, it's like 60 or 70% of those calories you're getting. With like fats, it's like 80-ish percent, and with carbs, it's like 90 plus percent. It's in those ranges. So it's all to say that macronutrients and like the makeup of the food you eat is massively important. Like the macros are way more important than like organic versus not organic because you could almost put this on tier one because the macros make up the calories.
Yeah. I think the other thing too with macronutrients is like understanding there's some foods that are like in the middle, but there's like pretty proven, tried and true like percentages that you can stay around for,
Your split.
40%
Yeah.
protein, 40% carbs, 20%, whatever your goal is, and just tweak these a little bit. Um, that work really well. I think people try to cut out carbs, and I've definitely done that. It's the easiest one to cut out when you're trying to lose some weight. But if you're playing a sport or you're trying to feel good or you're trying to put on
Need
muscle,
carb.
you need carbs. It's jet fuel, it's energy. It's how you recover from these trainings. It's how you go into a training feeling good. So I think there's really understanding how these make you feel and when to eat them made a big difference in my training. If you're eating carbs an hour before your workout, you're going to feel really good.
At Iron Summit, we are about getting everything we can out of our workouts and everyday lives. If you aren't wearing a pair of barefoot or wide toe box trainers, you are leaving gains on the table. The Sashi Athletics Ronin Ichi Minimalist Trainer is a perfect barefoot shoe. Not only does it perform like other major brands on the market, it is actually good looking. Even my wife says so. Get a pair today for 10% off with the code IronSummit10. Link is in the bio.
If you don't have a lot of carbs right before, you're not going to feel good. Protein and fats, especially fats, sit in your stomach longer. They take longer to digest. Carbs typically rip right through. Depends, you have complex carbs, you have simple carbs, but
Yeah,
carbs
how
you
much
can
fiber
digest
you're eating
quickly.
with the carbs. Exactly. Yeah, and I think like and we could do a whole podcast on how to break down your macronutrients, and we've talked about it a lot, and carbs are definitely the most manipulatable.
Hmm.
Like your protein and fats can stay relatively similar, and then you like bulk or cut, just add or subtract carbs. But overall, like I think if you're trying to like get this hierarchy down, at least understand what each of them do, understand what makes you feel good, and like start to just have a general understanding of how your total calories are made up of these macronutrients. And like that's more important than everything we're going to get to on the next tier, which is also a good segue on the next into the next tier, which is like we have two things on here, but it's ingredient quality. So now we're talking about like the quality of the food you're eating, the quality of those macronutrients, and like some of the foundational supplements. But let's start with ingredient quality.
One last thing on that, just easy lever for switch 3. Most people are under eating protein. Hit
Yeah.
a gram of protein per pound of body weight. Just make that your baseline.
Yeah. There's a lot of good things that happen from that. We don't need to get into all of them right now. So it'd take an hour, but there's a lot of good things.
Yeah. So next level with the ingredient quality, foundational supplements. I think supplements, I mean, we have full episodes on it. We talk about supplements a lot, but the best thing you can do is high lever supplements. And the best thing for that is if you're going to invest some time and money into this, go get blood work, see what you're deficient in, try to eat more foods like that. And then
That's the
if
best
you
way.
still can't get it up, this is when you start taking, individual supplements.
Still can't get it up. Define define that.
Okay. All right, Max. Anyways,
You know what Ryan's taking supplements for. I'm kidding.
all right, Max. Anyways, some high leverage supplements that I
Yes.
think I
That'll
would
help
say
you get it up.
that, well, honestly, could be
Honestly,
said.
yeah. All 3 of
Yeah.
these will do that and more for your health.
One is fish oils. I mean, we just have too much inflammation. Most people are eating a lot of seed oils, whether they mean to or not. And the omega fatty acids versus omega 3 fatty acids are all out of whack. So, getting a good fish oil, something to look for that. I mean, throw it into AI now. This is like so easy. Find a good fish oil. You're going to have to spend a little more. Small batch. You want it in a dark container. They go rancid if they're around too long. And you want to make sure it's coming from quality fish, small fish. You usually get mercury issues if you're getting big fish. So you want
Yep,
the
'cause
small
they eat
fish.
other fish. That's how that works.
They stack.
My favorite, this is a super easy one. Go to Costco, Sports Research.
They're good. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
really
use those
solid,
ones too.
pretty cheap. Those are my favorite. You don't need to, like, buy the most expensive things in the world, but a good quality, that's like a solid quality one that, yeah, we both use. We're not sponsored by them. We would be. I'd take a Sports Research sponsorship for sure.
Clip it, send it to them. Somebody get in
Yeah.
contact with us.
Yep. Next high lever supplement is magnesium. Talked about with this with Gareth, especially if you're training a lot, you're just deficient in this. I think magnesium it's like this is much more on the recovery side of things, but it helps with nervous system recovery. It helps your body process nutrients more efficiently. It helps you sleep deeper. It's got so many positive benefits and really no downsides. Super quick call out on 2 things though is there's like a lot of different kinds of magnesium.
Hmm.
The 2 kinds of magnesium I would focus on, well, I'd say you can focus on just one, which is magnesium glycinate
Yeah.
or glycinate. I'm not sure the right way to say
I think
that.
it's glycinate, but yeah, I don't know. Whatever.
Glycinate?
The G
Yeah, the G
magnesium.
one. That's the most important one. Take it before bed. If you're really trying to get fancy with it, you could get some magnesium threonate, which is, like, really good for your brain, and take that in the morning. Those,
Yeah,
are the 2 ones. That
citrate's like
goes
a
through you.
constipation. Yeah.
Yeah, so basically citrate, your body can't digest. So what it does is it comes out the other end. So if you, like, wanna improve motility, citrate's a great one, but, like, most because citrate is also here's, like, a little bit where the supplement like, a perfect example where the supplement industry doesn't always have the best interest in mind. Citrate is by far the cheapest to produce.
Hmm.
If you walked into, like, a Walgreens and just pulled a magnesium supplement off the shelf, it's
Citrate.
probably, like, an 80% chance it's citrate.
Yeah.
And it's not gonna say on that bottle, like, "This is good for, improving motility, but not great for recovery." It's just gonna say, like, magnesium. So, go for glycinate, for recovery and threonate for brain health.
And magnesium, a good magnesium, super cheap. Like this isn't like fish oil.
Yeah, it's
Not that
really
fish oil is crazy expensive, but I mean, fish oil is probably, I don't know, 30 to 50 bucks a month. Magnesium, you could spend, I don't know, $5 a month if
yeah,
you
it's cheap.
averaged out your pill versus, I don't know, you get 200 pills in a thing. Next one, vitamin D3 plus K2. Good to take this with magnesium at night. Vitamin D is like, it's like a hormone. We like need it. I know in college we used to have nutritionists that, especially because we were a winter sport, indoor sport, they were like telling us to even do 5,000 to 15,000 IU's a day, especially if you're deficient. Like we did blood work stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy how many people are deficient in vitamin D without supplementing it.
And I think it goes to show if you're not living in like Florida you should probably be taking some vitamin D3 unless you're, outside all day or something like that. I think it's a super cheap, again, and super high leverage supplement that's super safe and is, yeah, I mean, most people, especially in the winter, you're not getting enough of this. And it's a little pill, pop it, you're good to go.
Yep. Sports Research at Costco also has an awesome D3 plus K2 that
There
I
you go. You are a sports research fan.
I mean, like, if they have a supplement, they're always dosed really well. It's always really high quality. I'm buy it. Oh, yeah, they're good.
Love it.
All right. So the last one on kind of the fourth level. So like with food, now you got your energy balance dialed in, or you're at least understanding it. You have an understanding of your macronutrients. Now you can start worrying about the quality of your food. And this they're definitely intertwined because like eating only whole foods makes it much easier to have a better energy balance and better macronutrient profiles. Like whole foods lend themselves to getting those first two things right. But I think it's definitely like in terms of overall impact on your health, this is the third most important. That means it's still really important. Like focus on whole foods. Processed foods are much more calorically dense and generally have much worse macro profiles. Plus, they have all the other crap that comes along with it. And in this as well, you can prioritize like high quality meats, which will be more protein dense, have a little less of a fat profile. Like really processed meats, they add fats to for taste. So, like minimally processed meats might not be quite as tasty, but they're also just have a better profile. And I'll let you speak to the last point here, but I do just want to call out, I think part of this food quality is there's a real thing to be said on when you eat whole foods, you eat simply, you choose high quality foods and you start cutting out a lot of the like hyper palatable processed stuff or even just like super decadent. Like if you go to a restaurant and you get a steak, but it's got like really heavy sauce on it, it's like it just gets so much easier to get everything else right. And it gets easier and easier to make healthy choices. Like the hyper palatability of foods is a real issue and it throws off all stages of the pyramid here.
Yeah. I think too, if you've been eating super clean for a while, you realize how much the food actually affects you. Like if you've been super, healthy and then you go eat a greasy cheeseburger and fries or something, your stomach will hurt and you won't feel good. And you'll like retain some water and you just, you realize that it's like, oh, this is actually probably not good for me. I think about even, talking about energy drinks. If you're somebody that takes a lot of energy drinks, I'm not trying to like crap on energy drinks, but there's so many like fake sugars, fake sweeteners, a bunch of stuff where it's like it's meant to taste really, really good. And then if you don't do that stuff for a while and you start drinking something that's got some fake sweeteners, you're like, wow, this is like weirdly too sweet. And it's become a normal, I think, with most things. And I think an 80-20 rule here is really good. If you can, try to just buy single ingredient stuff, look up the dirty dozen, buy organic for those products, and cook in good oils like seed oils. I mean, there's some people that are like, seed oils will kill you. And then there's some people like, it doesn't really make a difference. I don't know, but I'm going to err on the side of like, I'd rather have high quality cooking oils. And so that's, butter, olive oil, avocado oil,
Well, they're
coconut
just
oil.
less processed. Like if you just look at it through that framework, great. If it's a pressed seed oil, sure. But most
Yeah.
seed oils are pressed. They're highly processed, especially like the ones that people have concerns about. So yeah, I think yeah, it's a good point.
And at this level and kind of going into our next level a little bit too is, I mean, if you're going to buy an oil, hopefully it's in a glass container, like a dark glass container, because oils will
Good
go
brand.
bad if they're in the sun. And so if it's not in a darker container or if it's in, plastic, like, I don't know. We have a plastic issue right now. I would try to err on less plastic in your food, less,
Yeah.
stuff
It's a
getting in your body.
perfect segue to the top of the pyramid, which is like now you're looking to optimize. If you're getting those, like we established one and two are like that's what you need to do to be just like moving in the right direction. The third stage of the pyramid with working on like the training quality, the macronutrients. Now you're starting to really dial it in. On the fourth level, you started to hit like the foundational supplements. You're eating only whole foods or mostly whole foods, not only mostly whole foods. You're focusing on non-processed. You're starting to do all that. Now you can hit some of these levers at the top of the pyramid that really do make a difference in optimization, but they're much smaller levers. Like they're like 2 to 3% improvements versus like we're talking at the bottom of the pyramid, it's like a 50% improvement. Sleep's probably like another like 30, 40. And like the impact of these levers gets smaller and smaller. It doesn't mean you still shouldn't do it. Like you and I worry about all the things at the end of the day. But I guess like before we get into this, what I would want to impress upon anyone listening to this is don't spend a ton of time, money, and effort worrying about the top of the pyramid if you're not doing the other ones. Cause you're like, what's your saying? You're stepping over a dollar to
So,
pick up a dime.
yeah, to pick up pennies.
Yeah, there you go. That's what you're doing. I usually get that one backwards and then it just ruins the whole point.
It's such a like it's funny to me when I see somebody that goes, "Hey, I want to start getting healthy. Like, I'm gonna get all glass containers," and I'm like, "Hey, man, what are you putting in your mouth? How long are you sleeping?" I think there's such a great it can't be like overstated or understated enough. Make sure you're focusing on the bottom pyramid. And then once you get to this part, I think the cool thing about this tier is it's usually like a one-time fix. When we're talking about foundational,
Yeah, it's like
lifestyle
all the time.
optimization, you buy glass Tupperware. That's you're pretty set for a couple of years with glass Tupperware. You start buying bamboo or metal utensils, for cooking. You're not using plastic utensils for cooking. You buy
Yeah.
better cookware that's like
Get rid of
stainless
plastic cutting
steel.
boards. Yeah.
Yeah, plastic cutting boards are out. Better deodorant, better body wash, reducing chemical exposure maybe through an air purifier or plants. Like it's funny, we have natural things that are already really good at this. Just take some work. Get a snake plant. They're phenomenal to have and they look good, but you gotta
Gotta
water
take
it.
care of it. But
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I think those are some great examples. And then I would also put so like those are kind of like lifestyle changes you can make. And then I would also put like specialty supplements in this one. Like even like creatine. This is probably like this is at the base of the top pyramid. Like creatine we know really works. Like it does make a difference. But like you shouldn't really be worrying about taking creatine if you're not like understanding your macros
Yeah.
and like doing quality training, right? You start doing those things, yeah, creatine's going to make a difference. So like, and I would say like, do worry about the fish oils, D3 and magnesium before you worry about creatine,
Yep.
right? But like I'd lump creatine on this one, although it's like probably one of the more important ones in here. And then like, there's some in here that like I get asked all the time about collagen and like, yeah, it probably is good. The science on it's like back and forth. I think overall I'm on balance with like collagen's a good thing.
Hmm.
But it's certainly not like a huge lever, and it's not even totally clear if it's amazing.
Yeah.
Like nootropics, same thing. Like, yeah, they might help brain health a little bit, but if you're not doing everything else right, it's probably like, it's a drop in the bucket. So I would put like kind of all those specialty supplements and like there's a range to those as well. And we have entire episodes on that. But like that's in the top of the pyramid as well.
Yeah.
Some of the least foundational.
And careful with the specialty supplements because most of these supplement brands, it's a marketing game. Like you see some like influencer that's pushing whatever and
Yeah.
says, it did great things to their
Everything made.
skin. Yeah. Or, a lot of supplements, you have no idea what's actually in the label. So if you're just buying this off the shelf, trying to pick the cheapest thing, I get it. I did that when I was in high school, but it's not the right way. Like if you care about your
A good
what?
backhanded insult. I get it. You did it like when your intelligence was equal to my
No,
high
that's
school
not that's
intelligence.
not that's not what I'm saying.
I know.
I don't know. I wasn't thinking about this stuff as much.
Yeah.
Let's not put an age group on it, but I've done it before.
Don't be high school Ryan. Read your supplement labels.
But but
I
even
did
when
it
you
too, 100%.
but even when you read them, you don't even know what's in them. You know, there's a lot of people, especially if you're playing sports in college, if you're not buying some like third party tested supplement, you might pop on a drug
Yeah,
test
and you need
with
to understand.
yeah,
Yeah, like, there was a very like, a Olympic team member who recently got popped because he took a supplement that had DHEA in it. Didn't know, but, like, that's on you at some point. You gotta understand what is in the supplements you're taking, and so, like, you gotta start if you're starting to worry about specialty supplements, you gotta have foundational knowledge and be able to read and understand a supplement label.
yeah. Yeah, and that's why I mean, if you pay $2 more for whatever supplement you're buying, but it's a reputable brand that you trust, I think that's 100% worth doing
For sure.
because you know what's going into your body and you got one body, you know. I there's some questionable
I would say don't
pre-workouts that used to
yeah,
be
don't buy a supplement that has proprietary blends because you just don't know what you're getting then.
it's a good rule of thumb. Yeah.
Yeah, I do that. Well, that's it. Let's just to review kind of the levels, the switches, the pyramid. I feel like we've used a lot of analogies here and didn't really stick to one. But the number one foundation is like master your calorie intake and your movement and be consistent with it. Number two is protect your sleep and recovery and do it consistently as well. Three is then dial in your macronutrients. So the makeup of the total calories, your training, start looking at like a quality training program and your food quality, like whole foods. You're doing all three of those stages. Now you can start to add in some foundational supplements and like quality ingredient awareness. And then at the top, like specialty optimizations, worrying about non-toxic non-toxic products, worrying about microplastics, worrying about specialty supplements. And if you're doing all five of those, you're probably a very small percent of the population, but congratulations, you're crushing it. If you're maybe like if you're listening to this and you're like, "Man, I crush it at like I take the foundational supplements, but I don't really work out that consistently." Like start just putting some more of your effort, time and money into the more foundational stages in this hierarchy.
Yeah, for sure. And goal here is get better. Don't chase perfection. I think it's so easy to get so caught up on like I didn't do everything perfect. Do these things, do them better. If you got questions, we love this stuff. Reach out to us. But super high leverage on, you know, one, two, and then you start getting into, you know, three, four, five once you get this foundational
Such a good
base.
point. That's maybe one of the biggest reasons I like this hierarchy is because you don't like one, two, and three. You don't have to be perfect. You just got to be like pretty good consistently,
Hmm.
and it's not that hard. You start to get into like ingredient awareness and worrying about like your body, like that stuff is it takes like a lot of time and focus. So I think yeah, one, two, and three are foundational and not complex. Let's put it that way. They may be hard, but they're simple. So
Yeah.
you can definitely improve on it.
Yeah. Build the habit, crush it.